moving on, and this is a very big
You take
topic
this
of
one
discussion.
first.
Oh yeah, got to go with my position at running back. Obviously, we got B. Rob, Austin Eckler, then McNichols got in there, got some action, and Chris Rodriguez, who's a dog, a dog. Everybody is about it. And where do we go from here? And I'm gonna be very honest with you. This has been one of the more disappointing parts of our team for me, and it has been a lot to do with B Rob. The fumbling issues, yes, were a problem, but more it just it seemed like the way that he was running this year, at times it looked like he was trying to find contact to the point, like even to his detriment, where it's kind of like, bro, you could have just cut to the left and you would have had 5 yards. And it's like you're running after a guy who's not trying to make, So, and a lot of people have been ready to get rid of him. And I love what I saw from Dan Quinn and right before the playoff game and right before those last games where he went and he talked to him and they kind of got on the same page. We need to have a solid run game in this offense. It's been that way since as far as we can remember, and even though we're running that air raid offense, we've seen that the running game is what kind of helps this thing tick. When we have not been able to run, JD5 has struggled. So we have to figure that out. This is the place where I would potentially look in the draft. This is a place where I would see, are there teams that are interested in potentially a B-Rob? Now, personally, as far as Eckler, I want to keep Eckler. You know what I mean? We obviously had the 2 concussions, so we don't know his shelf life. We don't know how long he's going to be in. But when he was able to play, that made such a difference, not only in the run game, but in the pass game. I think Eckler is what we expected Antonio Gibson to be. Yes. That's what we wanted from that. A guy that could run and make his moves in space, but he can also be such a threat when it comes to him being out in open field. So, and in the pass game. So that's huge. Here's where things get tricky for me. McNichols and Rodriguez. So as far as McNichols, I can take him or leave him. I love him, what he's been able to do, but with my recency bias of him fumbling in the Eagles game, get out of Washington, right? but truthfully, when you look at this season, when you look at B-Rob being out, when you look at Eckler being out, and I know everybody wants to shout out and tout Rodriguez, but McNichols was a consistent force. McNichols got in here and was able to be that balance of running and receiving that I think helped us to kind of just level out, as opposed to Rodriguez, who in my opinion is another bruiser. He's another B-Rob, and is just all downhill. So I love in those 4 that you have to lightning, thunder, but I don't think you keep all 4. I if it was up to me, I would shop B-Rob. I would see what they had, see what they were looking at out there for him. And McNichols, if we can get him on a team-friendly deal, maybe we'll see. But I would be looking at running back. I would definitely be looking elsewhere to see, okay, can we improve at this position? What do you think?
Yes. With the draft, we need to be looking at running back. Absolutely. I don't know what happened with B-Rob towards the end of the season. I don't know if the injury against Dallas with his knee, he never became the same person. I don't know if the offensive line wore down, but our running game went downhill towards the end of the season to where it was non-existent. Jaden Daniel was the only running threat that we had. Yeah. And yet, through the first 8 to 10 games, we had a threat with B-Rob. He was a phenomenal fantasy player for me. He was getting a touchdown a game. He was getting 60 to 100 yards and moving chains and being a tough physical runner. And maybe he broke down himself. Something has to improve there. I think he's still going to be on the roster next year. I don't think there's a trade value for him to make it worth it. But I think you need to be looking at 2 things you mentioned. What a great comparison. Austin Eckler was exactly what we thought we were getting from Antonio Gibson. But when he went out, we had a problem. So I'm thinking you need to go and find somebody that can be that complementary piece potentially, like that Bucky Irving type runner, so that someone with some speed that could be, spell both those guys. Or if Eckler, he is getting older. He's only on one more year left on his deal. Does the guy take over the following year? But I'm also not opposed to getting someone like I'm just going to say a name just for the sake of the names, like a Taj Brooks out of Texas Tech, who's a bigger running back, and RJ Harvey from UCF, someone that could be B-Rob's replacement the next year after. Because I don't think you're in a position now where we need to re-sign B-Rob after this year. But I think he's going to be on the roster. So let's find something that can either spell him better than Rodriguez could if he's not getting it done, or be a change of pace from what he's got. And this is a loaded and running backs draft. And the league is starting to trend towards running backs again. Look what we talked about Saquon, Jahmyr Gibbs up in the Detroit. So I think we need to be taking advantage of this in this draft and find somebody, whether it's a bell cow or a change of pace. We need to get something in here.
Oh, absolutely. And at the very least, we just need to have it where it's a competition. We need to maybe light that fire under him and say, hey, listen, this is what we're looking at. Because I've said this year after year, the best ability is availability. And as we've seen, B-Rob hasn't been able to complete the seasons. In that year, obviously, where he got shot, he came in and I think he played 8 or 9 games, and then towards the end of the year, he was out, and he was saying it took a toll on him. And we still don't know if that's still affecting him. You know what I mean? We haven't not every day you see a guy that is shot one year and then comes back and has these long careers in X, Y, and Z. So for me, I definitely think this is a place of concern. We need to take a look that maybe we need to make that move. And I would not be opposed to looking in the draft for somebody. And depending on what happens in the draft, I'm kind of hoping the league is still anti-running back, because then there are some guys that if they drop, I would definitely go in that direction.
3 years for Brian Robinson. He has yet to get over 800 yards in a season. He had 799 this year, 797 his rookie year. So he's capable. He's a capable back, but if we're trying to build towards the Super Bowl, is that someone that's going to get you there? Probably not.
Right. He almost needs to be the backup bruiser or somebody. What kind of like what Rodriguez is right now, where you have somebody else as the main guy in there. So we'll see what happens with that.